Thank you very much for the honor of being here today. I am really excited about zero waste, so I want to explain to you what it is, why it's important, and how to push for it. So basically, zero waste is a goal that means to eliminate discharges to land, water, and air that are harmful to either human or ecological health. It's about avoiding and eliminating the volume and toxicity of waste and materials, and basically conserving and recovering resources, so not burning or burying them. It's a systems change where we're moving from a linear system that's take, make, waste to a circular system where the discards from one step become the resources for the next step. We also need to be careful of greenwashing. Sometimes we hear claims like incineration is recycling of energy, or zero waste to landfill should be our goal. But to address this, Zero Waste Canada adopted a zero waste hierarchy that really outlines what counts as reuse, what counts as recycling, as well as some other concepts that are useful in zero waste planning. And so why should we care? Well, too often we hear that the outcomes of waste are very narrow, things like incinerator emissions or methane or leachate from landfills. But when we look more broadly, we'll see that it overlaps with many other issues that we care about, things like climate change, things like habitat loss, soil degradation, resource depletion, water use, and social justice. A study for the US EPA, when they looked at greenhouse gases from a systems perspective, found that 44% of the greenhouse gases came from the production of goods and their use, and another 12% from the production of food. So then we think, what difference can we make in the climate if we were being much more careful with our resources? The ecological footprint of our systems, which is how much land it takes to produce all the resources as well as absorb the waste, has been well over one planet's worth of space for decades now. So it really shows that we can't continue to go on at the present system. There are many benefits from pursuing zero waste as well. So aside from just less of all those negative consequences, there's also the potential for a lot of green jobs. And the CCPA's Closing the Loop report found that if we were to recycle all of the waste in BC, we could have up to 7,000 new jobs, even more if we were refurbishing and repairing items as well. So why should local governments act? Well, local governments, many of them are working towards zero waste and doing things that are within their sphere of control. But the province has delegated waste planning to the regional districts. So the regional districts are the ones that are actually doing the solid waste management plans and having to implement them. But it's a little bit tricky because for regional districts and local governments, you're dealing with waste once you have it. Once we have it, where can it go? Can we divert it? Can we compost it? But really, it's we need the other organizations to be working with us as well, in particular the province, because the province has many more tools where they can be taking a look at how much material is coming in, what kind of material, and how do we change the drivers of consumption. So we could be taking a look at actions like regulations or incentives. We're really focusing on redesign, reduction, and reuse, and many of those can be more easily accomplished by the federal and provincial governments. So how can you push for it? Well, local governments first, you could join us with the BC Intermunicipal Working Group on Zero Waste, newly formed group of elected officials, some of whom I have seen you here today. We developed a discussion paper to get people to start talking about it. And we really are saying, what can the province do? The first step, of course, would be for the province to develop a provincial zero waste strategy that includes both the definition and the hierarchy of zero waste, as well as a commitment to ongoing dialogue with local governments. We want the provincial government to use the tools that it has. Extended producer responsibility is one tool, EPR, where the producer's responsibility doesn't just end when you buy a product, but also when it extends to when you want to get rid of a product. And we already have many programs for those kinds of things in BC, such as for tires, used oil, lights, a whole bunch of different things. But we would like the existing programs to be enhanced, so to really make sure that service for different programs is available across the whole province, that the programs are really paying their way. And making sure that the province is also meeting its commitment on the Canada-wide action plan for EPR, where they committed by 2017 to have additional programs like those for textiles or mattresses and construction and demolition waste. And we also hear local governments asking for things in the future. Wouldn't it be great if there was a program for cigarette butts or for safety equipment or sports equipment? Because those are some of the things that remain in the landfill today. The ministry also needs to enforce its recycling regulation. So right now, programs often focus on collection, but there's actually stuff in the regulation around reduction, reuse, recyclability, and continuous improvement. Other steps we'd be asking for is to take a look at organics and maximizing the use of existing disposal capacity. So other places that you can advocate for are paying attention when your regional district is doing the solid waste management plan, advocating for zero waste. Pay attention to see if the province is hosting some public consultations, because they do, and in 2011 they had one on beverage containers where nothing changed with the deposits because the industry lobbied for no change and not enough local governments advocated for change. Every EPR program has to renew its plan every 5 years, so that's another great opportunity if you want to be engaged in those consultations and advocate for your community. And make sure that you and your staff are paying attention. How would you even know when these things are happening? If you belong to some different organizations such as the Coast Waste Management Association, BC Product Stewardship Council, National Zero Waste Council, Recycling Council, there's lots, then you will get their newsletters and you'll get to hear when the consultations are happening, as well as where some of the different consultations are happening, as well as what some of the best practices are that are happening across the country. And we can also advocate to the federal government, obviously, with FCM. We can work with environmental, non-governmental organizations. We can set a good example ourselves as individuals, and also work with businesses to change. And obviously, we should be working with UBCM to push for change, which is the intent of our discussion paper. So please take a look at the paper. It's there at bczerowaste.wordpress.com. We would welcome all of your feedback. Have your local council or local government association endorse it. And I will be here for the rest of the conference, so I'd be happy to talk to you. Thank you.